What's up everyone, welcome back to the channel. So much has been happening over the last few days with the inauguration of Donald Trump. So many executive orders being signed, and with all that happening, some stuff has been going under the radar. And the biggest thing that was forgotten by the news cycle is, of course, Joe Biden pardoning his whole family minutes before leaving office. Let's have a look at this. And of course, you will remember back during the campaign when Joe Biden was running, he was asked whether he would be pardoning his son Hunter Biden back then. And that was what he had to say when he was asked that question by the press.
I'm extremely proud of my son Hunter. He has overcome an addiction. He's one of the brightest, most decent men I know, and I am satisfied that I'm not going to do anything. I said I abide by the jury decision, and I will do that, and I will not pardon him.
And so that's what he said back then, that he was not going to pardon his son Hunter Biden. And let's listen here at what his press secretary Karine Jean-Pierre had to say, reiterating that message back then. Karine Jean-Pierre, we will not see her anymore. I guess we will miss her lies.
The president would not pardon or commute the sentences for his son, Hunter. I just want to make sure that that is not going to change over the next 6 months. The president's saying he would not.
It's still a no. It's still a no.
It will always be a no.
It's still a no. It will be a no. It is a no, and I don't have anything else to add. Will he pardon his son? No.
And so always a no. It will forever be a no until just a few weeks ago when, of course, he pardoned Hunter Biden for his many crimes. And, you know, we thought that was it. And Hunter was the only one that was going to be pardoned. But of course, no, that was not the case. Just minutes, actually 15 minutes before leaving office, while Trump was being sworn in, Joe Biden signed the pardon for all his family: James Biden, Sarah Biden, Valerie Biden, John Owens, and Francis Biden. Full and unconditional pardon. And what you will notice in this pardon is that Joe Biden is not just pardoning his family members for the time while he was president and they might have committed some misdeed. He pardoned them all the way from January 1st, 2014. So you know, years before he even was president. And with that, the Biden family, of course, being off the hook for all the crimes that they might have committed during 10 years. And, you know, this is not a pardon, it's an unconditional and full pardon, not just a pardon over crimes that we might know of, but also all crimes that we might not know of, that might not have been investigated yet. And now we're going to listen a little bit to Joe Biden talking about being pardoned for him or his family just 10 days ago. So 10 days ago, he was lying about it, and no one is really mentioning this, but let's listen to this.
Also, sir, on pardons, have you ruled out a pardon for yourself or any other additional members of the family?
For myself?
Yes, sir.
What would I pardon myself for?
That's what I'm asking.
No, I have no contemplation of pardoning myself for anything. I didn't do anything wrong.
And so Biden said back then, no, I'm not going to pardon myself. But he didn't mention his family members. And it turned out he didn't pardon himself. I'm guessing that he's thinking that he will be protected. Of course, his legacy would be his legacy would be different already, having pardoned his family members for the many things that they did. But it would have been very different. He had pardoned himself for his crimes while in office and even before. But that being said, now let's move to back during 2020 when Trump was president, and the idea was being floated that he might want to pardon his family, and that's what Joe Biden said back then.
President Trump is reportedly considering a wave of preemptive pardons. Does this concern you? All these preemptive pardons?
Well, it concerns me in terms of what kind of precedent it sets and how the rest of the world looks at us as a nation of laws and justice. You're not going to see in our administration that kind of approach to pardons, nor are you going to see in our administration the approach to making policy by tweets. It's just going to be a totally different way in which we approach the justice system.
And so, of course, this is absolutely hilarious. Joe Biden back then saying, oh yeah, we'll be totally different. We would never do something like that. And you have to remember that Donald Trump did not end up pardoning his family. And yet Joe Biden, who said we will never be that kind of administration, he is the one who now sets the precedent for giving unconditional and pardon to his family members, despite saying that he was not going to do it. So now let's listen here a little bit to the media. Back then, also, same thing. Back then, the media talking about the idea that Trump would give a preemptive pardon to his family members. This is how they reacted back then.
Have you ever heard of somebody getting a preemptive pardon who was innocent of all crime? Who's just an innocent person? Have you ever heard of that? Just somebody getting a blanket pardon and they're an innocent person?
But no, it's the president's own family. It's people that have been covering up for the president in addition to his own family.
Is there an innocent explanation for someone to seek preemptive pardons for family members? Would you do that if you knew you were innocent and just worried about outside forces?
The answer to that is going to be no. If you haven't done anything wrong, you sit there and go, what do you need a preemptive pardon for?
If he pardons people preemptively, he's essentially telling the public that these people have committed crimes. And we may not be aware of what they are, but the pardon is clear evidence that crimes have been committed.
I imagine if he decides to issue these preemptive pardons, it will be cast in a way that he is protecting his family and protecting their reputations from, villainous exterior forces that are against him.
First off, we should just take a deep breath and acknowledge the audacity of a president who's so clearly concerned about his own criminal culpability and that of his family members that pardons are a major obsession with him.
The president does indeed pardon, let's say, Rudy Giuliani or any members of his family. Would you see that, and I asked Preet Bharara this question, as essentially an admission of guilt?
I certainly would view it that way. I think millions of Americans would view it that way. If there was no belief in criminality, why would he think a pardon was necessary?
CNN has learned President Biden will pardon his son Hunter Biden.
Funny video, of course, because you can see here the double standard. And when the idea that Trump was going to pardon perhaps his family members was floated around, according to the leftist media, it was an admission of guilt. It meant that, of course, they had committed crimes, because otherwise, why would you even consider doing it? And in the end, Donald Trump did not do that. And this time, Joe Biden does it. And are you going to see the leftist media tell you, oh, well, this is an admission of crime and that the Biden family is guilty of crimes while he was in office? Of course, they will not say that. And as a matter of fact, they will not even mention it at all. And let's see now. Why is it that Joe Biden felt compelled to actually do that. Because, of course, as we said, this is going to impact his legacy. People will remember him as the president who pardoned his family. And we know of all the stories and the many dealings, the pay-to-play schemes that he had with his son, Hunter Biden, and the many allegations, really, that were happening even when he was president. And, of course, none of them were ever investigated by the Justice Department with Merrick Garland. But now let's listen to Maria Bartiromo here talking a little bit as to why it would be that Joe Biden felt compelled to do that.
James Comer has been investigating the Biden family business dealings for more than 2 years. The probe launched the impeachment inquiry of Biden back in September of last year, and it is now entering its final phases. The House Oversight Committee wants Biden to testify, but he is refusing. Back in March, Comer sent this letter to Biden. Quote, "The committee has accounted for over $24 million that has flowed from foreign sources to you, your family, and their business associates. The committee has identified no legitimate services to merit such lucrative payments. You have repeatedly denied playing any role in your family's business activities, but the committee has amassed evidence, including bank records and witness testimony, that wholly contradicts your position on these matters. The committee has identified and successfully traced money from foreign transactions, including from China, straight to your bank accounts. Certain checks have been described as loan repayments. However, the person who provided you free bookkeeping during your time as vice president did not remember any evidence of a loan from your accounts." Joining me now is the man himself leading this investigation, Kentucky Congressman and Chairman of the House Oversight Committee, James Comer. Mr. Chairman, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Good morning, Maria.
Where does this investigation stand?
Well, hopefully we're in the final stages. This morning, I issued a subpoena for targeted financial information from a certain financial institution related to Jim Biden, Sarah Biden, and Hunter Biden. This is a result of many of the documents that Devin Archer turned over. Remember, we subpoenaed and he turned over 3.7 million documents that never before been seen by any of the IRS investigators, the Securities and Exchange investigators, or any of the different groups that have been investigating the Bidens for years and years and years. And we've been able to connect some dots, we believe, that will finally answer pretty much every question we've had about the source of these shady transactions that went into the Biden family members and what role exactly Joe Biden played in that role in his family's shady business dealings.
So you've sent out the subpoena this morning to a major bank?
Yes, that is correct.
And what specifically do you want to know from this bank in terms of these documents that you're looking for to connect those dots?
We believe we found new accounts, and remember, the number of bank accounts that we've discovered over the past year and a half since I've had subpoena power, since the Republicans flipped the House, is unbelievable. I mean, I don't think you would find very many people that have billion-dollar net worth that have as many different bank accounts as this Biden family had. Many of these were shell companies, as you and I have discussed, Maria, companies that sole purpose was to launder the money that the Bidens were receiving from China, from Romania, from Russia, and never one time through the course of this entire investigation, even during the depositions with Hunter Biden and the transcribed interview with Jim Biden, were they able to answer exactly what the family did to receive this money. So we believe we found some more accounts that will answer some more questions, and hopefully we can prepare to close this investigation and present our findings to the American people.
So if you were wondering why Joe Biden felt the need to pardon his whole family, here it is. There is a congressional investigation that has been going on, that has unveiled bank records. And this has been going on for a long time because this was from last year. And my guess is that, of course, they have moved forward in their investigation. And now that the Republicans have both houses in Congress, then Joe Biden definitely felt the pressure, and he probably felt like there is some justice that is coming. But of course, with this pardon, the whole family being off the hook, And the Joe Biden influence peddling scheme is not going to result, of course, in anything, I guess, for the Biden family members who collected the money in exchange for peddling influence for Joe Biden. And, of course, he's not the only one. We know of the Clinton doing the same thing. But I guess Joe Biden was as bad as a criminal as he was a president. At least when the Clintons did it, they set up the Clinton Foundation. It was an organization that was detached from them. And so when, people, foreign people wanted to buy influence, they paid the Clinton Foundation. They did not pay the Clintons directly. And with Joe Biden, that wasn't the case. He just set up a bunch of LLCs and pretended that these shell companies were not him when there's nothing, easier for a congressional investigation than to unearth who's the beneficiary of these LLCs. So, overall, he was a lousy criminal and a lousy president, and it's not surprising. He was definitely not the brightest. But now, let's listen here to Donald Trump himself commenting about that.
I was surprised that President Biden would go and pardon his whole family, because that makes him look very guilty. I could have pardoned my family. I could have pardoned myself, my family. I said, if I do that, it's going to make me look very guilty. I don't think I'd be sitting here, frankly. If I did that, I don't think I'd be sitting here right now, because I would have shown that you're guilty.
And so here is Donald Trump's reaction to that, sort of, going along with the analysis of the media back when Donald Trump was the one who was contemplating pardoning his family. Yes, when you're the president and you pardon your family preemptively for things that have not even been investigated yet, then it suggests that indeed there has been wrongdoings that have been done, and that you wouldn't be doing that if that wasn't the case. And of course, the mainstream media is absolutely not going to cover that. They're going to focus all on Donald Trump and the things that are happening, the executive orders that he's signing. And they're not going to sort of go back onto this story of Joe Biden pardoning his family, because, of course, it would totally expose the hypocrisy that they had when they commented on the idea that Donald Trump would do that or could do that as something totally inappropriate. They're never going to say that Joe Biden's actions were inappropriate, of course, because he's a Democrat. One mention, though, to Jake Tapper, of course, who we saw in the clips, Jake Tapper from CNN, tweeting about it and mentioning it. So, kudos to Jake Tapper for saying something, at least on Twitter. And of course, he's not going to talk about it on the air, on his show, I guess. But him saying, and 4 years later, ... with the picture of the Joe Biden clemency letter, and a link down there to the Joe Biden video when he said that, of course, that Donald Trump pardoning his family would be a proof of criminal behavior. So there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Joe Biden, on his way out, or already out of the White House, on his way out, pardoning his whole criminal family to ensure that their misdeeds are not going to be investigated, and there will not be any legal consequences for the influence peddling scheme that they have been running, not just while he was president, but of course ever since 2014. Apparently, if you wanted to know when it started that Joe Biden started to sell influence to people abroad, well, now we know the answer because of the date of the pardon, January 1st, 2014. That's when it started. And hopefully now, January 20th, 2025, it has come to an end because Joe Biden is not the president anymore. And, you know, overall, I think history is not going to be kind to Joe Biden. He will be remembered as a terrible president. And after, of course, this pardon to his whole family, he will be remembered as essentially the head of a criminal mob that decided to peddle influence and enrich themselves greatly, not even that greatly, because the sums of money that have been mentioned here, you know, $200,000, $40,000, you know, how can this guy really sell his country out for, you know, these measly sums of money? That's really, really hard to understand. But I guess when you're Joe Biden, it doesn't matter. Any dollar is good to take anyway. We will leave it there. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Don't miss out on our future videos. We're going to have a lot to talk about, of course, with this new administration and the decisions that they will be taking in the future. Leave a like on the video, and I will see you all on the next one.
Hit me with that like and sub to the channel. Hit me with that like and click the effing bell. Click that bit, alright. The algo recommends for she go like. The algo knows you well. Hit me with that like. Subscribe to the channel. Hit me with that like and click the effing bell.